it's been, I mean, I was really humbled. I mean, I was just thinking, oh goodness, after that introduction, things can only just go downhill from there, right? I mean, like, I was like, I do hope I actually live up to that brilliant introduction that you gave me, but I'm truly humbled and I'm honored to be on your show. Obviously, you're doing some amazing work, and I do appreciate the support and the attendance of so many people already, who are there on the Zoom link, as well as on YouTube, who've obviously, they have invested their time. They've given us their precious time, and time is the most precious asset and commodity that we can give someone. So appreciate each and every one of your presence, and really appreciate this conversation and this chat. I don't call this a meeting. I call this like a conversation between true brothers. We're going to have a discussion with regards to any questions that obviously the attendees may have, and feel free. It's a no holds barred conversation. I'm an open book. Everyone knows me for exactly who I am, and that's who I am. My online personality, online persona is equal to my offline personality. And that's so important in being able to actually making an impact, not just on social media, but in life in general. So thank you once again for inviting me on your show, Rakesh.
Thank you very much, Joseph. So I think we'll start with the context setting, because just to give you a background about the community and the family that we are building here, I actually mentor and coach the mid-career professionals who are in their 30s and above. And what we exactly do is we are putting the theme line as take charge of their career. In the true sense, because most of the people are more or less passive in their career growth, right? And that's what has taught me that how can we probably bring the people to the awareness and take them to the next level by giving them the ecosystem, the tools, technology, system, process, everything, and bring them to the next level. So that's my efforts as a part of my mission to empower those 25 million professionals in my lifetime at least. And I'm truly humble and honored to actually mentor and coach more than 1,400 professionals today. And the part of the reason why you are here is we understand that making an influence and an impact on an online platform like LinkedIn, or in general, even having your personal brand and the relationship, which we call it as a core to any growth, is something which we as a career professional miss out. The reason we miss out is for a simple reason is we are very busy in our work. The job occupies 24 hours from us. That's what people claim. I don't believe in that, but that is one of the reasons. The second reason is the lack of awareness in the people itself, that is it really required to be on the LinkedIn and probably building the brand or an impact or a relationship in a professional environment when I'm already building relationship with my manager. That's the second aspect of it. The third aspect of it is while they are growing in the hierarchy, people understand that the job or the career opportunities are not going to come just from the job portal per se. It is only going to come through the relationship,
correct,
influence and impact. And these are the three elements that which I emphasize more to the people who are in my community. And that's precisely the reason I think you are the right person to probably talk about it. So I think the first question would be more about what actually transformed Joseph. I'm sure at certain point of time, Joseph must be somebody like what I describe, a person who is very much engrossed in his job, only think about, okay, boss ko please kaise karna hai, let's understand that aspect. And then from that point to maybe impacting a lot of people on the social media. What actually made you transform?
That's a great question, Rakesh, because one of the main things I would say that I was not on LinkedIn. I've not been on LinkedIn for a very long time. For those who are not connected with me or not following me on LinkedIn, I actually joined the platform on the 5th of August, 2018. So it's just under 3 years at this present moment that I have been on the platform. So yeah, it's been a fantastic journey. And I'm truly humbled. Like, the day when I joined LinkedIn, If someone would have told me that within 3 years I'd be having 350,000 plus followers, I would be like, nah, that's crazy. Okay. And it's not, and see, this is what a lot of people actually mistake online presence and social recognition and their digital footprint to vanity metrics. And I'll explain all of these, as we go along in the conversation. But the thing is, it's so important. It's not about, me having made an effort to become an influencer, because I hate the word influence or influencer, because according to me, it has a negative connotation, because I'd rather be an impactor. I'd rather have impact on someone's life than actually influence someone, because influence, according to me, has got a very fine line, which is very similar to manipulation, in my opinion, because I'm trying to influence someone's decision, whether it's right or wrong. I'd rather make an impact on that person in a way so that they can influence their own thinking. And that's the importance, in my opinion, because someone can tell you all sorts of things. But the thing is, the moment you actually take that on board and you actually apply it to your own personal life and you actually align your actions to your mission, vision, and purpose, that's when you actually start influencing your own life from within. Because we all have the answers that we seek within us. All we need to do is have someone. And that's the reason why, I'm such a big believer in coaches and mentors. And Rakesh, I think you're doing a fantastic job as a testament to obviously what you're doing and the impact and the influence that you're getting your mentees to perform in their own lives by obviously what you are doing and all the people that are present today during this conversation. So, kudos to you for that. And, I've obviously known you for, about 2 years now. Yeah. And, I've got nothing, I've got nothing bad to say. Forget bad, I've only got good things to say about you, because, we've been following each other on LinkedIn, and you provide thought-provoking stuff. You get people to think. And that is exactly what a good coach and a good mentor does. They don't tell you what to do, but they lead you to the door. They don't help you walk across it. They show you the door and they give you the courage to push it open or pull it open. And that's what you've been doing, Rakesh. So the way my LinkedIn started was obviously 5th of August. Me, like, any other person at that time, I still remember, I was looking at a bit of a career change. I'm obviously presently based in Singapore. I'm originally from Calcutta, or Kolkata, as a lot of people would know, in India. So I'm Bengali, born in Calcutta. I have lived overseas longer than I've actually lived in India now. So I left the country permanently. I've been, off and on international student exchange program since I was 15. But I permanently left the country when I was 17 years old. And I moved to Melbourne in Australia. And that's where I call home. But obviously, when someone asks, I still am proud to be Indian. I still have my Indian passport. I never gave that up. And the reason I didn't give that up, Rakesh, is because, and a lot of people ask me, you've been in Australia for so long. Why didn't you take Aussie citizenship? I was like, I don't want to face an issue where I need a visa to get back to my own motherland. Simple as that, right? And that's where you have to appreciate your own roots, and because that's where your journey began. That's the foundation of your entire career, of your entire, of the building that you're building. Like, your life is basically, always, under construction. And it's you who is the constant designer and architect making those subtle changes, which is going to either make it a masterpiece or it's going to get it to crumble down. So, and that's why, you have to be very, very clear about your roots. You've got to appreciate that. And that's absolutely important. So I started on LinkedIn because a lot of my friends who I know here in Singapore, they were like, we're looking at a career change. Why don't you start on LinkedIn? Because that's a great place where there are lots of jobs advertised, lots of recruiters there, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. So I joined LinkedIn. did all the mistakes that job seekers make, sent through my resume without creating any kind of conversation or any kind of contact or any kind of, relationship with anyone, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I did that but I'm a fast learner, always been a fast learner all my life. And because, I've always had to be adaptable from when I was very, very young. Only child of a single mom, obviously had to go through a lot of uphill struggles in ways in society as well as in personal life, as a lot of you in India may understand. So, I've always had to adapt, literally think on my feet, not just say that I think on my feet, but I have had to do that because otherwise, I'd just be left far behind. So I quickly realized that, without building a relationship, there's no way you can get forward in life. So so it also helped that, I actually sort of started my next career move very, very quickly within like 2 weeks of actually starting LinkedIn, and LinkedIn had nothing to do with that. So, and then I realized that LinkedIn is a great platform for you to actually start the building blocks of creating your digital footprint. Absolutely. And your social influence and your brand recognition and who you are as a person. And that's when I started obviously following some of the impactors here on LinkedIn with big followings. For example, Oleg Vishnupolsky, Bridget Hyacinth, Corey Warfield, Ahmad Imam, Dino Pachella, all the big wigs. I'm not talking about the actual influencers. Now, who do I call actual influencers? In my opinion, some of the biggest influencers who have actually influenced people in many more ways than one. I would say the first person who comes to mind is Mother Teresa. She is an influencer. Nelson Mandela, he is an influencer, okay? Because he has helped change people's lives. And that is exactly what true influencers do. They do not tell people what to do, but they live their lives in such a way that people follow them. People follow what they do because they resonate with their values, because they can find that commonality between them. And I think one of our common connections, Faith Noabia from Nigeria. Yeah. I loved what he said on my post, which I said, and I'm just going to read it out. He wrote, "Influence without impact is simply noise making."
Absolutely.
And I couldn't agree more with him. That's exactly what it is. Because what's the point of telling people that you're an influencer? And that's the reason why, I sort of cringe sometimes, not just on LinkedIn, on other social media as well, when someone has, under their name and what they do, they have written social media influencer. I'm like, really? Like, you don't basically need to toot your own horn.
Absolutely.
If you are truly an influencer, other people will talk about you and introduce you to be an influencer. You don't have to tell other people that I'm an influencer, right? And that's the main thing. So that's one of the main things that I think we should all keep in mind. It's all about making sure that you're focusing on the kind of impact that you're making, not just in your own life, but in other people's lives. And trust me, it becomes more of a responsibility. Mm-hmm. The more of an international following that you have, the more of social media following you have, the more brand credibility you have, the more international coverage that you have as a person. You have to watch every single thing you say, because there are so many people who could be impacted both negatively and positively and be influenced by certain things that you are doing. So if you are not walking the talk yourself, then who are you? You don't have that integrity. So integrity to me is the most important element that a person can have, obviously. So that's where my LinkedIn journey started. And I started obviously connecting with people, and that's always what I've done. So I'm a science student through and through in school. Physics, chemistry, and computer science. I was studying to honestly become a mechatronical engineer and go into robotics, etc. But instead of going to the US where my aunt lives, I ended up going to Melbourne, Australia, and I started studying financial planning and accounting. And I became a CPA, which is a certified practicing accountant, as a lot of you would know. But I've never worked in a bank. I've never worked in an accounts receivable or in an accounts payable position, because I always love relationships. I loved people. I wanted to always be there with people. So I've always been in like client-facing roles, in strategy, negotiation. So that's what I do. I'm a management consultant by trade. And even though I have an accounting degree, I'm a CPA. I'm licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore here as well. But yeah, I'm not in the I've not worked in the financial sector directly in financial roles, but I've worked in the financial sector, but in people-facing roles, if that makes sense. Because relationships are what matters. It doesn't matter whether you're doing B2C or B2B. It's all about building, making that connection. That's the human connect, which is so important, which people need to focus a little bit more on. So I hope that sort of answers, how I started on LinkedIn. And for those who are on LinkedIn, it's not a short-term play, okay? A lot of people ask, and a lot of people have asked me because of my exponential growth, and I'll explain what I mean by exponential growth. I'm going to take that, the Chinese bamboo tree analogy, which a lot of you may know, right? So, you plant the seeds, okay? First year, nothing comes out. Second year, nothing comes out. Third year, fourth year, nothing comes out, okay? Fifth year, maybe you'll see a little sapling. And you're like, okay, something, at least it's not dead. And then in this, as soon as you see the sapling, within 6 months, it's just grown up to like 30 stories, okay? Mm. But all this while, what it has done in the 5 years prior, when you've not seen any growth, or rather any visual growth, let's just put it that way, it's actually created a network of roots to solidify its foundations. True. And that's what, in my opinion, LinkedIn is. And why do I say that? Is because, so I had my first 10,000 followers in my 11th month of being on LinkedIn. Ooh. It took 11 months to get my first 10,000 followers, okay? And I reached 100,000, maybe another year from there. And last year in 2020, just so you know, so the 31st December 2019, or the 1st of January 2020, forget 2019, 1st of January 2020, I had 29,700 something followers, not even 30,000 followers on the 1st of January 2020. And then it just exploded. Because the previous 2 years, I was building my foundation. Absolutely. Right? And that is where a lot of people, and that's not just on LinkedIn, that's where a lot of people miss out on. That's where people just give up, because they're expecting, instant gratification. Doesn't happen. Not in life, not in business, not in trading, not anywhere. If you don't put in the hard yards, you will not be able to, experience the amazing fruits of your labor. That's why they say fruits of your labor. It's not like, fruits of your thinking, right? You have to put in the hard work, for things to happen in life. So that's that. So just to give you an example, just keep being you, but you have to invest into it. So, just to give you an example, I've spent, I would say, this year I've cut back down quite a lot. I even took a 2-month hiatus away from LinkedIn, because there were quite a few things happening in my professional as well as my personal. 2 months I was away from LinkedIn, didn't post, didn't comment, nothing. I was just taking a complete break from social media. I never thought of leaving social media. No, I was taking a conscious break. And that's where it's so important sometimes to just take a break, just to take a moment to pause, to introspect, to reflect, just to make sure that you've got, everything, moving in the right direction, so to speak. And that's one of the main reasons. It's important to sometimes just take a break, just to refresh, re-energize, and just hit the reset button, so to speak. So it's very, very important. It's very, very important. So this year, I have averaged, I would say, on a daily basis, my activity on LinkedIn has been between 2 to 3 hours. That's it, maximum. Maybe 2 hours a day. Prior to that, so till the 31st of December last year, 2020, from when I joined LinkedIn, I used to average anywhere in 6 to 8 hours a day. Now, a lot of people would be like, but doesn't that mean that you're not working? No, It's all about being able to prioritize. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are like, how can you do 6 to 8 hours a day? And I've broken it down. And I tell people how. It's how you basically prioritize stuff and how you find stuff. And that's why, the biggest excuse that someone can make is like, I don't have time. Rubbish. You can always make time, okay? But once that time that which you could have made for something has gone away, that's a lost opportunity. And that's where you always need to be able to prioritize, compartmentalize different things in life. So just to give you an example, Rakesh, so I wake up about 7. So I used to do my first, half an hour, maybe between 7 and 7:30 on LinkedIn, just have a look through my notifications, etc. 7 to 7:30, half an hour gone, okay? On my way into work, I used to take the bus. It's a nice 1 hour, bus trip. So, between, 8:30 to 9:30, start work at 9:30. So 8:30 and 9:30 in the bus, I'm on LinkedIn. That's an hour right there. So I've already covered from when I've woken up 7 to 9:30 a.m., which is 2.5 hours that I've been awake. I've already been on LinkedIn for an hour and a half. So that's where you prioritize your time. And that's where you can find time if you've got the right intention. And that's the most important. So 1.5 hours before 9:30 a.m., I'm already on LinkedIn. Lunchtime, it's a 1 hour lunch break, generally, everywhere in the world, generally. So you don't need an hour for lunch, honestly, seriously, unless you seriously, chew your food, like, I don't know, let's not go there. But, I eat very quickly, very, very quickly. So I finish my food in like 10 to 15 minutes and I spend the next 45 minutes on LinkedIn. So that's 2 hours and 15 minutes. By 1:30 in the afternoon, 2 hours and 15 minutes. On the way back home, that's an hour bus ride. That's another hour, 3 hours and 15 minutes on LinkedIn. Done and dusted. Okay, come back home, spend some time with the kids. They go off to sleep, have dinner. They go to sleep at about 8:30 in the evening. I'm free from 9 o'clock. Okay, I don't go to sleep till like 2 a.m. in the morning. But forget that. Okay, I'm not saying that you need to go to sleep at 2 a.m. in the morning and then wake up at 7, or go to sleep at 3 a.m. in the morning and wake up at 6 and have like 3 hours of sleep. But let's say, for example, right, if you're a busy professional and you've got kids, of course, kids would go to sleep at about 8:39, right? Spend some time with your partner. And then, after that, between 10 and 12, you've got another 2 hours there. So what I used to do is between 9 and 12, that's another 3 hours. I've already done 3 hours and 15 minutes before. Until 12 a.m., I've already covered 6+ hours in a 24-hour period on LinkedIn. And I used to do that every single day. And that's where it's not just the application, it's also, the consistency that is so important, right?
Absolutely.
The reason why water breaks through rock is because it's consistently hammering against it. And that's the main thing. If you're not consistent in what you're doing, you will never be able to get ahead in life, whatever it is. You will never be able to reach your goal if you don't keep hammering away at your passion and your purpose. And my only thing on LinkedIn is basically brand awareness and to create my digital footprint and social recognition. And that's it. So for example, when I do a lot of independent consulting work, and I'm looking at a couple of different opportunities in my next career move, etc., which Rakesh and I were talking right now, I don't need anymore to basically send my CV to people, if that makes sense, right? So when I reach out to people, or people reach out to me and they are like, would you like to join us? That's the kind of recognition and brand recognition and social awareness and brand awareness of what you do that you need to work on. And if anyone had any idea or any drawback on the importance of creating a digital footprint, I think COVID has been a huge eye-opener, not just personally, but more importantly in a corporate situation. Companies which never thought that they needed to look into online digital media and digital marketing and make sure that their products are available on an online platform and have the digital footprint, etc. They've had no option but to literally run helter-skelter and do it.
True.
Leaders who've always micromanaged teams have had to throw their own personal rule books out of the window and have had to, do meetings on Zoom, etc., blah, 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 all around the world. So all the rule books that we've known has literally had to be thrown out of the window. because of COVID. Yes, what is happening in India at this present moment is absolutely horrible. I mean, I've got loads of family and friends in India, and my prayers and, go out to them. Absolutely. But the thing is, yes, it has been absolutely ridiculously horrible, not just in India, but all around the world. There have been millions of people who've lost their lives, right? But also, from the greatest tragedy does come the best solutions as well. So we also need to see the good things that this pandemic situation has given to us, has made us realize. Maybe it has made you realize something in your own personal relationship. Maybe it's made you realize that, maybe I need to look into some kind of a side income or a side hustle, so to speak. Maybe I'm really good at showing people how they can, do yoga or learn music or do meditation. And you can set up something along these lines of a bit of like a side hustle. And so that's that. There could be so many things, which have come up. And this COVID situation, this time when I sort of call it, when we're in this moment of perpetual pause all around the world, it has made us just, forced us rather, not made us, it has forced us to take a moment of pause, to reflect, to introspect before taking action. And that is so important, right? You as a coach, Rakesh, please, I'd like to get your feedback. I think the first thing that you would tell anyone who you're mentoring, you'd be like, calm down, take a deep breath, just pause. The question that you asked me, I want you to think it over, and I want you to tell me how you feel. And then you will try to bring out the answer from within them. Isn't that what the main thing of a coach and mentor is, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me bring in, I think, the whole perspective in the context, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of nuggets to probably gather while you are talking, right? And I love that you are so passionate about that.
I'm passionate. I can talk about it all day, every day. So because I live it, and that's the thing. I'm not talking of a script. And a lot of people, when they talk of a script, they don't have stuff to talk about. And that's why, you have to be passionate about what you do. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about building relationships. I'm passionate about marketing. I'm passionate about sales and business development. A lot of people see these sales, business development, marketing with like, it's like, they have this bad impression. Rubbish. Each and every one of you is selling something.
Absolutely.
Is a salesman in their lives. And you must be thinking, what do I mean by that? Okay, I'll give you one example. Okay. Pre-COVID situation, right? If you're going, group of friends, you're going for a movie, or forget a movie, going to a restaurant. All right. All of you might be like, let's go to restaurant X, Y, Z, for example. But obviously, let's say 6 of your friends don't go like to each restaurant. You'll do decide on one restaurant at the end. So the restaurant that you have decided on is obviously the restaurant which was suggested by the best salesman in your group, who's been able to give you the benefits or explain the benefits of all of you making that decision moving forward.
100%.
Another sales element, right? For those of you who have been in doesn't matter if you've been in an arranged marriage or a love marriage. Okay. When you spoke to your partner, or when your parents told your future partner about you, they were selling your qualities. I know selling quality or selling you, it sounds a little bit cliched, but think with an open mind. Okay. Either you were explaining to your partner, who you may have met at a restaurant or a common event or networking event, etc., of who you are. You went up and introduced yourself. That is you making a sales pitch.
Absolutely.
So each and every one of us is doing a sales pitch every single day, every single moment. It's about realizing as to the things that you're actually doing, whether it's actually making a positive impact on people or a negative impact on people. Are you using powers of persuasion, or are you trying to manipulate them? And that's where Rakesh is brilliant at what he does. So raw wisdom, all over to you.
Okay, thank you. And I think a couple of nuggets that I want to pick up for people who are here, right? And give them the context as well. So in the larger context, guys, if you see what Joseph is trying to explain us is that if you are consistent in building your digital footprint, it is possible to create that impact in the world, and the result outcome will be the influence that the people will get. Definitely, if you have picked up his wisdom, he is also referring that time management is a myth. It is the priority which takes precedence. Okay. What is relevant to you, what is important to you, makes more sense to you, you are passionate about it, that makes more sense to you. Okay. Third, and the most critical one, if you're not building your brand, anyway, you're not going to grow in this world. And if you're not able to sell yourself, it is going to be difficult going forward. Okay. Because where we are heading towards, and COVID has actually made us realize that we are moving towards a gig economy, regardless of whether we accept it or not. So ultimately, we are looking at the Netflix model where people will be hired basis hours, saying that, okay, you got this skill, let me probably hire you for 2 hours. Can you please do this for me? And then you're done. And if you do not have enough relationships which can actually tell you that, brother, you come and work for me, like he's getting the invitations for work, if you can't attract the work for you, you are going to be obsolete. You are just becoming a digital age dinosaurs, to be very
Love that,
honest.
digital age dinosaur. I'm going to use that one day. That's really good. That is brilliant.
Right?
That's raw wisdom right there. Digital age dinosaur. Love it.
And that's where the things come in. Why he was able to do it? He doesn't have family, he doesn't have children, everything what we have in India he has. He may be able to maybe get into the 6 hours. Can we actually put 30 minutes, 1 hour? How many of you are doing it 30 minutes consistently on LinkedIn? And if you are doing it, let me ask you this simple question: are you just a consumer or a creator? Because there's a fundamental difference between two. You browsing your phone for an entertainment just to distract yourself from the work is called the consuming. You writing something which can help somebody to actually think about it becomes a producer. So if you are just consuming on the social media, you're just like any average person, and your fate is anyway decided. You have to come, pay the bills, and go. That's it. Right? But if you really, really want to create an impact, what Joseph is telling us, that you need to find out what is the purpose that you have. What is the passion that you really, really want to share? You may not be working in a job which is passionate, right? You might be stuck in a job where you are not feeling the passion, and absolutely fine. But can you probably create your impact in the world owing to your passion and probably create opportunities for you? And that's where the create the age comes into picture as well, where you are building the relationship and you are creating the passionate things in the world and creating the opportunities out of you. It is everything around you which the world revolves. And if you feel that, it is very easy to say, Anant, 80% consumer and 20% creator, but help me understand who decides that 80-20%.
Very true. Very true. That's such a fair point. That is such a fair point. And see, Rakesh, I'm just going to add one little thing. And because you brilliantly brought on the importance of the consumer and the creator, right? I'm just going to make a little comment on that. And I fully agree with you, right? A consumer is just browsing, just flicking. A lot of people are scared to be a creator. Now, a creator doesn't mean just that you are actually creating content or putting out posts. No. Engagement, your comments is also content. Remember that. And a lot of people don't realize that. They don't understand that engagement also shows people who you are as a person. What are the posts that you are commenting on? What are the different ideologies that you are valuing on social media? People also get to realize what kind of a person you are just from your comments. You don't need to just be making posts. Now, I post once a day, generally, not on weekends perhaps, but generally I post once a day. There are lots of other people with bigger followings who post multiple times a day. There are also other people who post once a week. It doesn't matter. It's about how you are, segregating your time, because that's the prioritization that we were talking about, and that's the main thing. Content is not just producing it. You can curate content as well. A lot of people don't understand the difference between create and curate. Okay, creating content is like you are holding the phone in front of you, making a video or taking a picture of yourself and then adding some words based on what you're doing. True. And curating it is, for example, you're taking a video from TikTok or you're taking a video from YouTube, and you are using that video in your content, but you're also putting your own words. You're putting your own thoughts, and you're obviously, and this is most important, that you don't plagiarize. You put the details of where you got the original content from. Just put it either in the comments or in the post itself. And that is curating content. So you can be a content creator, not just by creating original content, but you can also be a content creator by curating content as well. And also by engaging. So brilliantly put out the 80% the consumer model as well as a producer model. I love that. So thanks, Rakesh.
And most of the people are, just from the technical perspective, Joseph, we actually explained what that SSI score is on the technicality perspective. That the social selling index, ultimately the LinkedIn indicates whether you are in that zone where you are sellable brand in the market or not.
Correct.
Right. And this is where the professional brand needs to come out. Now, I think one of the major apprehension that the mid-career professionals have is the bias that the Indian companies have about them putting on the content or probably consuming time on the LinkedIn or social media or something of that sort. What's your thoughts about it?
I can talk about hours regarding this. See, this is something which, honestly speaking, if COVID hasn't allowed or made companies and senior leadership literally rethink about their ideas on social media, I just don't know. They are the digital age dinosaurs.
Yeah,
as you rightly said. So honestly speaking, one of the main things that I think companies should realize is like your employees are your best brand ambassadors. And the only way you can do that is by making sure that you are acknowledging and appreciating them. I think one of the best companies that comes to mind, and not just because I'm Indian, but it's because that's a company which has been built on familial values, which is Tata. Okay, just some of the elements that that Tata does, Ratan Tata, and prior to him, it's so beautiful to see. So empathy. If a company and your senior leadership is not empathetic towards you, then, and if you know that and you're not being acknowledged or appreciated, move along. Because honestly, the more you stay with any, or rather within any situation. Now, I'm just bringing that back to both your personal as well as your professional life. The more you stay in a situation where you're not being acknowledged and appreciated, you yourself are diminishing your own value in your own eyes. Absolutely. And that is something which, and that is something which quashes dreams. It stops progress. And it's like it just stops people from being able to follow through on what their heart wants and what your soul wants. And that's so important. And that's where sometimes we need to draw the line. We need to draw the line. And but unfortunately, because of social constraints, financial constraints, what people would say, etc., a lot of people are hesitant to pull the plug. They're hesitant. They fear other people judging them. But all I have to say to every single person who is afraid of pulling that plug is like, don't live your life when someone else is writing your story. Take that pen back into your own hand and take that element of control back. And the moment you do that, yes, do entrepreneurs, suffer? Absolutely. I think it's a hardest thing to do, to be an entrepreneur. Now, a lot of you would be saying like, but I'm working for a company. Yes, I do work for a company, but I have been an entrepreneur, and I still am. I do, personal consulting as well, individual consulting. So I am an entrepreneur. So I understand both sides of the equation, and that's what gives me the flexibility, because I don't have to just, I don't have to just depend on my full-time job. For example, if that goes tomorrow, I know that I have enough impetus from my entrepreneurial journey to keep me going, for all the other relevant stuff. But that also gives you that element of independence. And trust me, that element of freedom and that independence, seriously, is the best seeds that you can plant in yourself for creativity. And with creativity, all you start is basically just tapping into the horizons of what you can actually achieve, and the world's your oyster. So yeah, just keep plugging away. I know this situation, this last year and a half, has been really hard on most of us. I would say on all of us. It has affected us in some way or the other. But each and every one of us is affected in a negative way as well. But also try and look at the little positives that has actually shown us, the little rays of sunlight that you have been able to see through the clouds, so to speak. See those little positives, take those learnings and apply it to your own personal life, and see if that makes a difference. That's about it.
Absolutely. And I'll just put in this point forward in terms where somebody is writing your story. I think the central theme of this entire mid-career journey that we are doing in the career acceleration is about taking charge of their career. Because if you don't take charge, somebody else will play with it. And it's been true for every one of us who have been through that journey and the grind where somebody else was writing our story, and we were just watching as an observer. And that's where you need to probably, I think, pull the plug, and you need to probably take charge of your own life and career together. Now, some of you are also apprehensive about what content should I put? Like I think Joseph has put very beautifully about the curating the content. If you can't create, at least curate, right? By giving the due credit to the people who have created that, right? And at the same time, please understand that it is not about a journey of, I would say, few months where you want a job, and that's why you are creating a content or curating a content, building the relationship. And then once you get the job, you get into your cocoon and then forget about everything else. You get into the busy mode. Please understand, you are building the relationship is now more paramount to your success in the future today compared to what it was 10 years back. 10 years back, people were not even aware about what LinkedIn was and why you should be on the LinkedIn or so on. I had an account till since 2012. I hadn't used till 2018.
There you go. And you're not the only one. A lot of people have done that because they haven't understood the importance of how LinkedIn can help you sort of build your brand credibility. Let's just put it that way. Your brand credibility. Yeah, Facebook is great, Instagram is great, but LinkedIn is a platform which is targeted towards working professionals. So if you have a product or a service that you're wanting to promote, the best form of engagement, or ideally, your ideal client is someone who's earning money, right? Or who has a job.
True.
Because otherwise, how are they going to afford your product or service if they're not working, right? And that's what makes LinkedIn different to all the other social media. The other thing about LinkedIn, which makes it very different, and which is something which I love, is it's completely organic. You don't have to pay money to become or to get coverage or leverage. No, you can have. I have a premium account, but my premium account has nothing to do with my followership or with how far my posts go. To give you an example, if you go to my profile, okay, some of my posts have less than 100 likes. Some of my posts have thousands, tens of thousands of likes. It doesn't matter. It's about, what resonates with people and what has resonated at that particular time, so to speak. So, and that's where it's not a one-hit wonder. Okay. That's where that consistency is so, so important. So, love that, Rakesh. Thank you. Thank you.
And some of the people are also asking about how to build that consistency. How can you be so consistent for at least 2 years, 3 years down the line?
Habit.
Is it something?
Habit.
Absolutely. Let's
and this is something which I remember this, and I remember this word habit is because, when I was in, I think year 3 or year 4 or class 4 rather, for most of our people, most of the people here are from India, so they'll understand. So class 4. So I was like, 9 years old, 9, 10 years old. And my teacher, my English teacher actually wrote down on the green board. It was not a blackboard, it was a green board, right? With chalk. And he wrote down the word habit, HABIT. Okay. And then he cut out the H and he's like, see, a bit remains. You cut out the A, bit remains. You cut out the B, it remains. So once you actually make a habit, okay, it's very hard to basically not do it. That's the reason why a lot of people, for example, I'm going to use this example is because, smokers, why do they find it so hard to quit? Because it's become a habit, okay? They reach for their cigarette first thing in the morning or after a meal, etc. It's become a habit. Rather than it becoming a necessity, it's become a habit, right? Same thing with lots of other people. People who go to the gym, for example, right? The first couple of days, they may. So if you go to the gym, and if you only go like 2 or 3 days, the first 2 or 3 days, you will have aches and pains on your body if you just go to the gym for the first time. But you keep doing it, and they will go away, and you'll start seeing, the benefits of going to the gym, for example. So that's where you build habits, and it's a gradual process. You can't expect. And that's where, Rakesh, I loved what you said. Like, I started with 6 to 8 hours, and that was my habit. And that is what I intentionally wanted to do. You don't need to start at 6 to 8 hours. Start with half an hour. Start with 1 hour, okay? But be consistent about it. You don't need to do it at the same time every day, but block it out in your calendar, for example, okay? On your smartphone, just block out certain periods of time, and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to focus this element as an investment into my brand credibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it like that. It's all about that consistency. It doesn't matter how small that investment is. Doesn't matter how small that investment is. If you keep adding to it every single day, at one point, it will become a big amount. Same thing. If you put in 10 rupees into your savings account every single day, you'll have 3,650 rupees at the end of the year, right? So same thing. It's the consistency.
And some of the aspects of the question which are coming up is there's a difference between the professional brand and a personal brand. Most of the professionals in the mid-career are showcasing their professional skills, right? And at what point of time somebody should actually focus on the personal brand?
Oh, great question.
And my point of view is different, but definitely would like to hear from you, and then I'll add my points.
Please, absolutely. So that's a great question. I love this question. So the thing about personal and professional brand, right? See, it's and this is what our common friend Joy Abdullah, who actually introduced us, he said, it's a business of the heart. Okay, it's the emotional connect. Okay, I'm going to give you one example. So let's say, for example, nowadays, a personal brand in many cases is becoming bigger than a professional brand. And what do I mean by that? Let's talk about Jack Ma, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, these people, right? Bill Gates. Their personal brand is literally bigger than their own companies that they have formed. Their companies are known because of them. And that's where branding, it's becoming more and more, it's moving more towards the individual. So, and that's where a lot of people make a mistake, and they're like, okay, maybe, whatever, I don't want to look into, creating that branding element on my personal level because my company branding is something different. No. If you are, an important member in the hierarchy of your company, you need to be a brand ambassador of yourself. And if your vision, mission, and purpose is not the same as your own company's purpose, then you're working in the wrong place. Absolutely. Or you need to do something different. So personal branding and business branding is, in my opinion, it's the line dividing them is becoming more and more obsolete, and is becoming thinner with every passing day. And people just should focus on who they are. And okay, I'll give you another example, which is a bit of a personal story. So in the year 2010, I was still in Melbourne at that time. I was working for a financial services company as a senior head of VP of business development, for example. So there was a networking meeting or networking event. Lots of people, like 500-600 people were there. And there was this senior gentleman who was, in his 60s, of a company who my company wanted their business, if you know what I mean. So, and I was lucky enough to be there at that event, and I saw this gentleman, and I actually found a common contact who could actually introduce me to that person. And so I went up, and I went into my elevator pitch. A lot of you know what elevator pitches are. I hate elevator pitches. It's a strong word. Hate is a strong word, but I hate elevator pitches. All right. And that is the day I started hating it from. Because previous to that, I was like, I loved elevator pitches. But after that, hate it. I'll tell you why. So I go into my 10-second or, my 30-second elevator pitch, and I go and stand in front, and I thanked, obviously, the person who introduced us both. And I was like, I went to my elevator pitch. So this gentleman, he heard me for 15 seconds, 15 seconds. And he tapped me on the arm. He just held me on the arm. He was like, young man, I know what your company does. I can Google it. But why should I do business with you when there are so many other competitors who do the same thing? How are you different? And that made me think. All right. So those of you who are like, what's the point in building my personal brand online? What's the point when I'm working for a company? Okay, Google your own name. I challenge all of you to Google your own name after this call, after this meeting right now. Google your own name and see what comes up. You will only find your professional stuff coming up. You will not find personal stuff coming up. When that is solely what people look at when they want to do business or they want to enter into a relationship in the long term. People do business with people who they know, like, and trust. So the way to build your personal brand is to basically get people to understand who you are as a person, not what you do. Because on your professional profile on LinkedIn, you already have what you do. If someone is interested enough and they want to, they can click and they can see you're the senior manager of whatever, or you're the an accountant or a financial advisor or a consultant or whatever, right? They can see from the professional social media, or they can just Google your name and that's what will come up, what you do. But that's not why people do business with you. They do business with you because of who you are. Because people connect with people. People connect with emotions. Emotions sell. Emotions are what allows you to do business. It's not just a product or the service. It's about what was the emotional undertaking that you connected with the other person on. What did they resonate with you as a person? That is why they want to do business with you. That's what you should focus on. That's the main importance of ensuring that you build your own personal brand, because people reach out to you not because of what you do, but because of who you are, because they like you. And the know, like, and trust, the know is the most important. How can they like someone if they don't know you? And that's what Rakesh was talking about in the past, when he was like, you should be able to market yourself. Otherwise, and so true, you could have the best product, the best service in the market, but if people don't know where to come, you will be paying rent without any income. Simple as that.
True.
So you need to be able to fearlessly go out and not just, pitch people, but provide them solutions. Be a solutions provider, not just a product seller. And you will see the difference. Connect with people's real needs and requirements rather than just focusing on a one-size-fits-all, so to speak. Ask them questions. See what they really want. If you can't help them, that's what social media is great for. You can connect them with someone else who you feel. Yeah. And trust me, that builds greater trust for the long run. They may not do business with you today, but when in the future, something like that of what you were offering comes into their mind or into their personal existence, the first person they will think of is you, because you made a personable impact, because they know you, they like you because you didn't try to sell them something which they didn't need or which didn't fit. And then you recommended someone who could have done a good job for them. And that's the reason why they trust you for the future. So that's where the know, like, and trust is so, so important. And you can only do that by focusing on your personal brand, by showing people who you are. Forget what you do. Forget what you do. People know what you do, okay? But they will never do business with you because of what you do. They will only ever do business with you because of who you are. And if you can resonate with them, if they can have the same values, if they can resonate with your mission, vision, and purpose, and if they feel, that's someone they can connect with emotionally. That's why people do business with someone else. Know, like, and trust. That's where the B2C and B2B comes in. A lot of people are like, but B2B is very different. No, it's the same. B2C is basically you're pitching to one person. B2B, you're pitching to people, but in a panel. That's about it. You still have to connect with each and every person. You have to have better listening skills.
True.
Because one person in that panel is the decision maker. You've got to ask those lead-in questions to be able to understand as who that decision maker is. And that is very important, that's where your active listening skills, and Rakesh, you're great at this, on showing people how they can develop their active listening skills by, focusing on empathy and etc. So, all your mentees definitely, speak to Rakesh with regards to the importance of active listening. Listening to reply is not the same as listening to understand. There's a big difference. And that's where active listening plays such an important role in being able to get someone to actually open up to you. Get someone to actually feel that they are in a safe space to be able to tell you their real needs and requirements. So hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think I put it in a different way where what they understand, if your only influence is your boss, your career is anyway in danger.
Very true. So true. And one more thing I just want to add. A lot of you might notice that I'm doing this and I'm lifting this chain up, okay? For all of you, sometimes, and this is something which my mentor and my coach taught me. She's in the US. She's based out of Los Angeles, and she's a senior executive leadership coach. And she taught me a really good hack, which is we are all human beings. We all have emotions. There will be moments where, we feel down and dejected and stuff. Each and every person on social media who you see are happy all the time, rubbish. Okay. They have their bad days as well. Okay. They're all human beings. Okay. Everyone's going through the same nonsense at some point in life. And there's a hack where you can have a little element with you, on you, around you all the time, which you can just, hang on to, or you can just touch, or you can just feel, and okay, this is my, my reminder, my physical reminder, and that's important to have a physical reminder. This is a hack which my coach taught me. So, and I've always resonated with the phoenix, which is the bird which rises from the ashes, right? So this is a phoenix locket. I'm not sure whether people can see it. It's a phoenix, okay? So I wear this, and that's one of the main reasons as to why even on my previous the picture that I have, my phoenix is always shown, and that's one of the main reasons why I always lift it up so that it is visible. not to you, but to me. That is my physical core. If strength, or it's something which I can tap into. It just gives me a reminder that I've got this. Okay, and that's important. It can be like a Ganesha sort of a little pendant. It could be anything. It could be a bookmark. It could be a coin. It could be anything. It could be a picture of your child. Okay, keep something, and this is just a hack which someone taught, which my coach taught me. Just keep a hack, and just keep something physical which you can look at times when you are doubting yourself. Because however strong you are internally, personally, emotionally, however successful you can be professionally or personally, you will always have your down days. And that's when you need a physical reminder sometimes to just bring you back to and to ground you. So this is my physical grounding element. So just a hack. I just wanted to share. Go on, Rakesh.
Thank you very much for sharing this. I think I was just wondering why you are doing it.
Yeah, it's just a visual reminder to me, because I'm seeing myself, right? So it's just a visual reminder to me. So if I'm not seeing myself, I won't be doing it. But because I'm seeing myself, and I noticed myself doing it a couple of times, I was like, people are thinking, why is he doing that? So yeah, and that's important. It's important to give yourself that visual reminder sometimes.
Okay. I think one of the question is also coming while we are coming close to the session.
Sure.
How an introvert can actually initiate the communication and everything. And this is one of the myths that people have, that being introvert is a disadvantage.
No, I'm an introvert. I'm a social introvert. Okay.
Even I'm an introvert as well.
There you go. Okay. So I would say I can count on one hand the number of people who know every single thing about my life. I'm a very closed person, very close person. I have a group of trusted people, who I speak to, including my coach and mentor, who is like an elder sister to me. But the thing is, and I'm definitely an introvert. I am not an extrovert at all, but it will never come through, because I always try to sort of mimic another person's energy, not just their body language. A lot of people will say body language. No, I don't think you should mimic another person's body language, because this has been said for so long. A lot of people can pick up on it, and they'll be like, oh, you're actually trying to manipulate me. So I don't believe in mimicking another person's body language. Mimic their energy. So, in sales trainings that I used to do, the first way you can mimic their energy is speak like they do. If someone's speaking really quickly, speak quickly. If someone's being like, all right, so this is how I want you to do things. So you know that you have to space out your words a little bit, speak in their tempo. That's the biggest and the simplest hack that you can do. And maintain eye contact. And that's important. Be sincere, listen. These are little things. I think mimicking body language has become a lot more cliched at this present moment, because a lot of people immediately pick up on it. Like I pick up on it immediately. But if someone's like really cheerful and happy and smiling, and you go in and you speak to them and you try and find a commonality, like what they like what kind of music do they like to listen to, what's their favorite food, or do they like pizza, or do they like pineapple on their pizza, or they don't like little things like that. Okay, do they like dogs, do they like cats, do they play the piano, do they like singing? Find a commonality. Okay, and that is very, very important in my opinion.
Absolutely. And my personal belief is, I was an introvert for more than 37 years. And when I open up, I'm not able to stop now. So that's the real problem I have now. But the only thing which I change for myself is being introvert doesn't make you actually a person with a disadvantage, because you can still share who you are. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two is being introvert also gives you a lot of advantages of connecting people at an emotional level. That is what I believe, because introvert people are more emotionally, I would say, intelligent compared to the people who are extroverts. That is my
Agreed.
personal belief.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
They reflect a lot when in their mind and heart before they speak out. So that's the reason they are more emotionally engaged people. So
Yep.
if you are an introvert, I think you have to showcase your true self. And that brings me to the end or the last question that I have for you.
Okay.
Most of the people have that between the content creation, curation, or otherwise, they actually throw down all the motivational inspiration and all this stuff and everything.
Yep.
But very much they are hesitant to show their personal side or probably their true self, like you said, right? The people do the business with who you are, not with the people who are having the designation or a company or a product or service. So how do we bring the people with their authenticity out, right? Because there are a lot of people who are not doing the things just for the sake of judgment or LKK, what we call log kya kahenge and sort of, right?
I like the log kya kahenge. That's brilliant.
At the same time, they have their what do you call self-denial mode as well. That I don't need that, or probably why should I probably share my stuff on the net in the social media? So what do you have to say about this?
Oh, that's a loaded question, and I think that's what stops a lot of people from actually coming onto social media and being able to start their personal branding journey, so to speak. I think one of the main things is like, and people are scared. People are scared to be judged. Okay,
true.
The fear of judgment is what stops a lot of people, as you said rightly. Log kya kahenge, right? And people are like, well, I'm going to be judged, etc. But there is a very fine line between being vulnerable and asking for pity votes, if that makes sense. Okay?
True.
And that's something you need to work on. So being vulnerable is basically a way where you're basically showing people that, moments in your life where you've been down and out for the count, but then, you got a sense of inspiration or you worked through it. And that's something that you can share. Okay, that's a good way to basically get people to see moments when you were at your lowest
point,
and how you basically sort of went through it and got to the other side. Now, you may think that what's the point in sharing my story? And this is where one needs to focus on the impact element and not the influence element, right? You never know who will be able to, resonate with that one little element, and that will impact their entire journey. And they may be, sitting in this whirlpool, cyclical, the vicious cycle, as we like to call it, right? They may have been in a whirlpool or a vicious cycle and doing the same thing over and over again and not having the courage to take a step that you may have taken in a similar situation, and that may inspire them. So the moment you inspire someone, and your story can be an inspiration to just one person, it can be an inspiration to 1,000 people, but even if you can inspire one person to create or to get out of their vicious cycle, you've made an impact. And that's how you create a positive influence in society in your name. So don't be afraid to share things about yourself, but don't just do it for pity votes, if that makes sense, right? Because
let me give you an example of it, and a really good example just happened an hour before we actually jump onto the call. So there is a mentee who actually enrolled into this program. He was one of the first mentee who got involved.
Okay.
And he had lost job in 2017, and he was always like seeking the PT, like you are saying, right? The PT seeker. Sir, I have lost this, or I'm a victim of this. I lost my health. My wife left me, and this and that happened. I'm not able to get the job and everything. And during this period of time, I think he met me in 2018, 19 onwards, and I guided him to actually get at least 3 to 5 calls, which happened during that time. And every time he always failed at the point where his personal life questions are asked. So he became a PT seeker that, oh my God, sir, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And the people are wondering that whether this guy will be emotionally stable or not.
Precisely.
right? Whether
Precisely.
he will
Yep.
be emotionally stable if I actually hire him. And that was a point of rejection for him, because technically he
Such a
was
fair
very
point.
competent,
Yep. Yep.
very,
Yep.
very competent, and skill-wise skillful, but not able to emotionally decide and detach. And I had to fire him one day, fire him to the core, that why are you seeking pity? Why are you being victim? For what?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For what? Are you having two limbs, two legs, two hands? Do you have
Exactly.
mouth, right? Can you go and do the labor, do the wage work, get the money, feed your parents, right? Why are you being victim? Why are you, I mean, what are you seeking actually from the world? So that has changed his life. From that point of onwards, he actually helped people teach the tuition in his home. Then he started cooking and distributing the food to earn money. He actually helped his parents to actually grow, right? Today he gave me the news that, sir, I got a job which is actually 40% hike despite having 4 years of gap.
There you go. There you go.
So it is that incident that reminded me, when you were talking about the authenticity, that don't seek the pity as such, just be vulnerable. And you rightly pointed out, like when I share my own story, I was very much hesitant. First day when I was talking about why the hell I should actually share what happened to me. And then I realized so many people are going through it. So many.
Absolutely.
If I share my story, at least someone will actually resonate. Someone will get the help, how they can actually grow their life. And I wonder why I was not sharing for so long. Ever since I started, so many people are connecting to me. Rakesh, the story which you shared is exactly the same thing happened with me. What to do about that? So people are seeking that one person that who they can resonate with, and you could be that one person of inspiration for their life. And you need not have thousands and millions of followers in order to be an influencer. You can have a one life impact in your world.
Absolutely.
That is enough for actually having the purpose of your life. Perfect. That's what I believe in.
Beautifully summarized. And see, that's what we should focus on. That's the kind of legacy that we should focus on. What kind of impact are we having on people's lives? How are we empowering them in ways without even actually being there? And and if we keep these two things in mind, that will impact, that will influence the way we act ourselves. And because it doesn't matter if you're on social media or not. It doesn't matter whether you, as you rightly said, you've got 1,000 followers, you've got 1 follower, you've got 1 million followers. It doesn't matter. If you're able to impact and inspire one person, that's your job done.
Yeah.
That's your purpose. Simple as that. And we can do so much for people around us. We undervalue ourselves and we overvalue the opinion of others. And that is something which, in my opinion, and so, I would say, if you were going to ask me for one wisdom nugget, or what's something I would have told myself, if I could go back and speak to my teenage self, is like, stop putting people on pedestals. Okay. They are not living your life. You are the one who's doing it. So stop living like, an actor in their story. Okay. Be your own director of your own movie. Simple as that. And have that courage. Have that courage to sometimes, cut people out of your lives, because there are so many people out there who will unfortunately weigh you down, and they will act like leeches because they do not want you to grow. In Australia, we call it the tall poppy syndrome, where people in a particular community, for example, if someone is doing really well in that particular group of friends or in a community, there will be people who will be like spreading rumors and trying to bring them down, because they do not want one person to be an outlier in their group. And that is what will happen. The more the bigger you get on social media, or the bigger you get in a company, or the bigger amount of, the more you earn. Let's say, for example, I'm just going very materialistically. The more you earn, there'll be more and more people who will be materialistically wanting to, be connected to you, whether it be for, to get money from you, or to tap into your contacts, etc. And that's important. You have to understand that. But does that mean that you have to shield yourself from whatever you do? No, just start living your own life on your own terms. Stop putting people on pedestals, and just start basically listening to your own heart. A lot of people forget to do that, and that is very, very unfortunate. And this one thing, and this is something which I'm sure a lot of people have heard, is like, don't be in that situation where 30 years down the line, you're sitting alone, on a chair, and you regret something that you feel, if only if I had the courage to do that then, what may have been. Don't let what ifs, honestly rule your life, okay? Go out there, have that courage to fail. Have that courage to fail. And I repeat that again, have that courage to fail. Because failure is what builds, or is, failure is what the rungs of the ladder of success are made of. A person who is successful, if they say that they've never failed, I would say they are lying. Okay.
Absolutely.
There's no one in this world who has not failed at some point in their life. Learn from those mistakes, and try and try to not do them in the future, and see how it adds up. See the learnings that you get from them.
Absolutely. So with that, we conclude this episode. And first and foremost, how many of you are inspired, guys? Let me understand. Show some love to Joseph for sparing his time. And let me tell you an inside story. His son is hospitalized, by the way. And I told him that, can we actually cancel this session? He said, no, show must go on. So he's here just for you.
That's right. That's right.
Despite his son is hospitalized for food poisoning and all,
That's
that
right.
is where he comes from. That's the heart you need to have. That's the courage that you need to have to show up when the chips are down, and you still have to actually show up. Okay. So
Precisely.
I want your love, not only on here, I want your love to his wall, right? You can tag him, post him, and also on our Telegram group. What are your top 3 learning, by the way? Because just don't come for the motivational lecture. You might be feeling, oh, I'm completely inspired and pumped up, and no. Just commit yourself. What 3 actions that you're going to take from today onwards? Because this session, when I bring the people from the world, I want each and every one of you to grow to the next level. That's the only intention that we have. Nothing else. Okay. No charge, nothing. He has not charged, neither I am charging you. Okay. So it is the only intention that you guys grow to the next level. So that is what we require. Okay. Thank you very much, Joseph.
My pleasure, Rakesh, and thank you so much to everyone for your prayers for my son. So yeah, I mean, Rakesh and I were supposed to actually get on a call half an hour before, but I just actually reached back to where I'm staying like 15 minutes before the conversation started. So because I was at the hospital since morning. He's fine. He's 4.5 years old. He just had a bit of a food poisoning from school, so he's all good. He'll be released tomorrow. But obviously, if your son's in hospital, obviously, and if he's young, you have things in your mind. And Rakesh did say, we should postpone. I was like, no, it's a commitment. Is a commitment. He's not. I mean, I was going to come back anyways because his mother is taking over in the evening and being there with my son. So I'm like, I need to make sure that I honor my commitments, and that's where. And that is something which will take you to the next level. Honor your commitments to yourself. So the moment you make a decision to do something, do it. There will be elements where, things will come up. Okay, that's life.
Absolutely.
You have to move on. You have to move on because there is always an opportunity to get around it. If you find a wall in front of you, either go around it or go through it, but go past that wall. Because those are just shackles which are holding you back from getting you to your absolute potential. Rakesh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, and it was absolute pleasure. And thank you to every single one of you who have joined in. If you do want to follow me on LinkedIn, please do follow me. Unfortunately, I won't be able to accept connection requests unless you actually send me through a personalized connection request. because I've gone past my mark of connections on LinkedIn. But please feel free to follow me. And I don't have a virtual assistant. So I mean, I may not be able to react or tag all my tags, but I try and do my level best. But thank you so much, Rakesh. It's been such a
Thank
pleasure,
you
brother.
very much,
And
Joseph.
I look forward to actually meeting you in person, or hopefully after this pandemic is over.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. We must. I think it's been long time. I think Joy. I
That's
keep
right, yeah.
talking, of course, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I keep talking to you and a lot of other people who are international connect, right? So
Correct.
which are very common. So
That's right.
thank you very much, Joseph, and
Pleasure.
take care of yourself and family and your son.
Pleasure.
And
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
glad to have you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
God bless.
Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.